Okay,
Okay.
just
I
give
think.
me one moment.
Okay.
Just a moment, please.
Hi. Thank you. There.
Okay, just to confirm, can you um do you have my visuals and are the audios okay? Just to
Yes. Very
confirm.
well. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, great. Okay, so good morning, everyone, and for some of us it could be good afternoon. Sincere apologies again for coming in a bit late, or let me say quite late. Okay, so we'll be looking into environment variables, and also we'll be looking in at connection references. So for some of us that might have engaged in development of solutions for quite a number of time within the Power Platform, you would be vast aware of what solutions are. So, and we'll be looking at solutions. We'll be looking at the connection references and also the environmental variables. In case I have anyone on the chat who is just getting to know about Power Platform or getting to know about connections and environment variables, or if you've used it at any point in time, can you kind of signify in the chat? Can you signify? Or you can just do a thumbs up in case you've used it before or you've not used it before or you've worked with solutions. If you've worked with solutions, let me see. Okay. Okay, no one dropped a comment yet. Okay, that's fine. So I'll be walking us through how you can get to use this. You can actually utilize it in Power Apps. You can utilize it in Power Ultimate, but I will be juggling both of them. Okay, use one in this, use this in the other. So we'll be going into environment variables. So I'm not going to be diluting anything. I'll be bringing it raw to us just the way it's going to come in from the Microsoft Docs. So I'll go ahead to share my screen now. But before then, let me authenticate to prevent you seeing some PIIs. Okay, so you just hold on a minute. Okay, I think I can go ahead and share my screen now. Okay, you can give me a thumbs up once you get confirmation on being able to see my screen.
Yeah. Can see.
Okay, so this is just my Office 365 tenant. So so I'll be bringing everything to us raw from here, just the way it is from the documentation. So in case you might not have used it before or you're looking of how to use it and some issues that could arise from using connection references, we can actually look at it from this particular documentation. So I'm just going to copy the link from this docs and I'm going to put it into the chat. So there it goes. So we'll be looking at connection reference. Now, if you want to look at connection reference, you would need to start from the point of what is a connector itself. Okay, what is a connector itself? So in a layman's word, we could say a connector is how will I put it? A connector enables us to reach our data. Okay, that is what we could say a connector is. A connector allows us to get to our data, meaning that if you are within the Power Platform and you want to consume data that are not within your office, even though it's within or outside your Office 365 tenants or organization, you would be needing the use of connectors to achieve this. Okay, so you'll be needing connectors to help you to achieve this. Now, connectors doesn't just stop at that point, allowing you to reach your data, but they also allow you to act on this data. So let's say, for instance, you want to perform some actions on your data where your data lives. You can actually, it's connector that you definitely be needing, that you'll be needing. Okay. So now when it comes to connection reference, so in going a bit technical as regards to what a connector is, we can see connector to be a proxy or a wrapper around which an API allows underlying service to talk to the Power Platform. Okay, to talk to the Power Platform. That is, in your connector, you are going to be having API calls in it. So in your connector, you are going to be having things like get. For some of us that understand application programming interface, you would understand what API calls are. You can have your post, you can have your put, you can have your patch, you can have your delete. So these actions, they are all within your connector. So connector in itself, they are helping you to connect to a service. So the types of connectors that we have, I'm just going to show us from the Power Automate side of things. So the kind of connectors that we have, okay, they are connectors that you can actually use to get to your data. So currently this has grown to 536. That's the number of connectors that we have within the Power Platform. And I can tell you it's increasingly growing, like increasingly growing. So I'm going to click on all services. So in these all services now, this is where you get to see all the services that has its connectors within the Power Platform. Okay, so as you can see, we have the native SharePoint apps. I mean the native Office 365 apps. Outlook, OneDrive for Business, Office 365 users, SharePoint, and we have Twitter. This is a premium feature. So we have Twitter and many more. So if you scroll down here, you can even filter down to see what the two types of connectors are. But we wouldn't be going in depth into what the two classes of connectors are within the Power Platform. We're just going to talk on connections generally. Now, for you to establish connections on a normal day, you would need to go to data and then go to connections. So this is where you establish your connection. So if you are building a flow to use SharePoint or to use um, OneDrive or to send an email, you will need to connect to them from here. Okay, and as you can see, I'm connected to Azure AD, I'm connected to the Dataverse legacy, and it's all coming from this point. So it's just me connecting. No solution is involved, nothing is involved. I'm just creating my flows. So you get to see this commonly by you just going to clicking on new connections, and then you select or you search for the connectors that you actually want to use. Okay, you search for them here and you just connect with them. So this is just connector itself, just connector, not connection reference. Okay, this is just connections, not connection reference. And I'll be showing us why connection reference is pretty cool when it comes to you working within solutions. So just a moment, let me go to. So I want to use SQL in in the demo. So that's my on-premise SQL. So I need to connect to on-premise SQL data. So let me just do this portal.azure.com. So I'm going to go start up the VM while we go back to connectors. Okay. Okay. So that is currently starting now. So that's all good. So let me just go back to my VMs, then do a refresh. Okay. Let me double check to ensure it has started. Yes. Okay, so this should be on in about a moment. So going back to connections. So this is you just creating connections normally. I want to get users data from Office 365 Azure Active Directory. You just come in here and you do new connections. You select your Azure AD and you create your connection. All these are all in the cloud. Okay, in the cloud. Majority of these are in the cloud. But if you are using things like or if you're connecting to services such as SQL, for instance, or SharePoint, for instance, you will have the opportunity to select if it's going to be an on-premise connection or if it's going to be the cloud connection. So if I select SQL Server, you have the opportunity to select any of these authentication types, and then I can decide to use Windows because that's what my SQL Server uses, the one I just started up. And if it is on-premise, you need a gateway. Okay, you need a gateway to actually connect to those data that you have on your on-premise servers. So you need gateway configured. So I already have two gateways configured, and I could use them interchangeably, but they are on two different servers. So you can have two gateways installed on one server. So now this is you just establishing connections normally, like just on the go. So I'm going to switch to an environment where I've named training, and I'm going to go into solutions. So inside of a solution is where you get to create your connection references. Okay, inside a solution is where you get to create your connection references. So I'll be explaining what solutions are. So we can say solution is like a box. Okay, is like a container that helps you to hold the resources that you have within the Power Platform. So you have flows, you have pages of portals, you have Canvas app, model driven apps, even tables, okay, that you want to utilize. Even now, it's been extended to data flows, AI builders. That is, if you've built these models and you really want to package them, okay, into a single place and then move them as well to another environment. So if you're quite familiar with the Microsoft domain, you would understand that movement or I mean solution is an integral part when it comes to you working and deploying these solutions that you've developed into different environments, that is into several environments. So we have the development, and you can have a development environment, you can have a UAT environment, which is user acceptance testing environment, and you can have the production environment, which is the live environment. Now imagine you've built 200 flows. I've seen some organizations that has up to more than 8,000 flows, even more than 2,000 flows. And tell me, how do you think if those flows are in development now, it's time for people in the organization or for processes in the organization to start using those flows that you've built and you've tested and you are okay that it works fine. Now, normally you can do an export, that is manual export and import. But imagine doing that for 2,000 flows. Man, it's going to be time consuming. I know Ahmed can testify when you're working on projects and you have several flows developed and you are concerned about moving them from one environment to another. So it could be tedious because you would have to be doing click upon clicks. And one important thing is you have established connections in this flow. So I'm going to go into my environment now just to show us what a flow looks like. Okay, which one should I use? Let me duplicate, come back in here, then I'm going to go to flows. So normally these are flows that are being developed. So I'll just go into one of the flows. Let me use this one. So this is a flow that is collecting information from Microsoft Forms and creating those details that are submitted on a form in a SharePoint site. So that is what this flow is doing. And you'd see that this flow, if you click on this right ellipsis here, you would see my connections. That is Function's connection. Now you can add other connections to it. Now if you are going to be exporting, so let's assume this flow, a flow can have up to like 200 steps. Okay, a flow can have up to 200 actions within it. Now imagine you have a SharePoint connector, and this connector is actually in like 50 of the steps. Okay, if it's in 50 of the steps, what it means is that if you are re-importing, you would need to re-establish those connections, which could be quite tedious. Okay, from the point of import, you start creating connection, and really it could be time consuming. So, but now there is something called connection reference, and connection reference is a solution component. So that is what it is. It is a solution component. As I showed us earlier, when creating connection, you are just creating the connection straight on the go. But if you are creating those connections within a solution, then you can have them being done as a connection reference. So it's a component of a solution. So you can't create um, connection reference outside of a solution. You can't create it outside of a solution. So you have to create it within a solution. So remember, a solution is a package or is a container that helps us to hold our resources. So we can easily export it from one environment to another. Okay. So now both Canvas apps operations and Power Automate Flow can utilize connection references. Okay, both of them can utilize connection references. Okay, so you can also import it, that is export from where you've created them and import it into the target environment that you need them in. Okay, that you need them in. So we'll be going into some now, and we'll be creating some, and we'll get to see how it works. So previously there used to be a limitation, but I think this publication was done sometime last month. So I think that has been removed, if I'm correct. So before, you can only use connection reference with I think, is this 16 flows, but now I don't think there is a limit to it. I'm not sure it's there is a limit here anymore. Ahmed, you can check in case there is any, but I'm sure that it used to be limit of 16, but now I can't find any here. That's when you're using it within Power Automate. Okay, so let's
I don't think
go
there's any
into
limit.
back. Yeah, I think they've removed the
Yeah.
16 actions limits within the 16 flow limits. I think, yeah, it's been removed. So now I'm going to create a solution. So I'm going to call it, let me see. So we're going to be using SharePoint as our case study, and we'll be using SQL as well. So we'll be using both of them. So for these, I can say, okay, I want to connect to contact. So let's just say um, D365 dev solutions. Okay, so it's good that you select a publisher. Okay, if you don't have any, you can create one. Then your version by default would be this. Okay, you can change this if you want, but it to be this by default. So I'm then going to click on create. So this is going to create a solution for me. And in the solution, it's just all going to be blank, like nothing would be in it. So here is the solution. So I can go into it and nothing will be here. Nothing will be here. So we are going to be creating a flow, okay, to, and also an app to utilize connection reference. So I'm going to be going into new, and on clicking on new, these are the components that you can actually add to a solution. These are the components you can add to a solution. Okay, so here we are restricting ourselves to let's do an app first of all. So I'll be creating a Canvas app, a very simple app, nothing much, just to, let's say, submit customer records to SQL or something like that. So let's see. Okay, just a moment. Okay, um, customer submission app. So I'm going to use the phone model. So your sales team can actually be using this just to get details and submit. So skip. Okay. So what I'm then going to do now, I'm just going to add, or let me say, change the name of the screen to um say customer. So everything we are doing here, it's live. So if we run into any issues, we fix it here. So customer, let's see, customer page, or let me say form page. Okay, so on this form page now, I'm going to add a connector to this form page. But now I'm going to do this in a way that is going to ensure that it's going to be a connector reference. Okay, so I'm creating this from within a solution. So I'm creating this from within a solution. So I'm going to click on this. Let me expand this. So this is data. So if you want to connect data to your Power Apps, Canvas app, you connect it from here. So I'm going to click on this. I'm going to click on add data. Then I'm going to search for SQL. So these are the SQL connectors. I'm selecting the SQL server, and then I have the bike stores. So a connection has been established to bike stores. So I can just decide to do another one. Okay, Windows server name is fun. Database name is bike stores. Username that's the username to my server. That's my SQL server. Then the password is okay, PII. Okay. Then I'm using this gateway that I've set up for it. Okay. So I'm just going to do connect. So let me see. I think the SQL server should be done now. Okay. Okay, good. So it has connected, and let me see. Okay, I have a customer's record here, so I'm going to select the customer's record. So these are the tables that I have within my on-premise SQL server. So I'm going to click connect. Okay. Okay, good. So now I've connected to my customer's table in SQL Server. So I'm going to go back now to the tree view so I can see the app, and I'll just put in a form here. So it just shows how connection references work in solutions. So I'm going to put in, let's see, insert a form. So since we want to put a form, so it's a form page. So I'm going to add, where is it? An edit form. Okay. And as an edit form, we can put in a label just to tell what this page is all about. So I'm going to come to the control bar, the formula bar here, and just put in um, customer submission form. Let me say page. No, it should be the same thing. So let me just put in form here. Okay, so I can decide to put it in the middle. Then let me fill the color. Just fill it with this color. And let me change the text property. Let me see. Where is the text property? So I can change that to, let's say, a white. Okay. Aha. Okay, so here now I'm going to then attach the table from SQL into this form here. So I'm going to click on this, and as you can see, it's telling me that I already added this. So I'm going to select it. Okay, so now I need to choose the fields that I want. So let's see. So I have a first name field, I have a last name field, I have an email field. So just the most important things are the things I'm going to add. Street and city. I think this should be all. Then I'll click on add. Okay. So this then helps me bring all this in to the app. So the next thing is just for me to add a button. So it's just a very simple and straightforward app. So this button will be to help us to submit. So I'll just name it submit. Okay, then I'm going to change the onSelect property to submit form. And this time around, I've not renamed my form, so it's still form 1. So I want to submit form 1. So it's a very simple command. So you submit form 1, that's all. Meaning that anything we input into this form should be submitted. So let me change the color of this to look more like what we have here. Okay, so I think that's all. So we're good to go. So I'm just going to save the app, go to file, then we're saving it in the cloud. So save. Okay, so while this is saving, once this is done, so we're going to go back to our solution and we would see what we are going to be having in the solution. So if you want to give a guess of the components of the Power Platform that we should see in the solution, you can drop a comment in the chat. Okay, you can put a comment in the chat if you want to guess what 2 things we should see in our solution. So you can drop a comment in the chat section. So we've created a Canvas app and we've attached a connection reference to it. Okay, but in this time we are making it to be a SharePoint, a SQL connector. Didn't save. Oh, why is that? Save again. App with the say app an app with the name customer submission app already exists. Choose a different. Okay, so let me do this. Team app. Or could it be that it's saved with another and didn't reflect? Just a moment. Okay, so this is the solution we created. It's saved, but for some reason it didn't give me a success feedback here. Okay, these errors happens like 1 in a million. Okay, so this is just the app that we've built. So I'm going to go back to solution, so it's all good. So I'm going to go back to solution. So here now we have the customer submission app and the sales app because I saved them twice, so it just came in, but not to worry. So here now in the background there is already a connection reference being added here. Okay, there's already a connection reference being added here. But the good thing is the way I've done it, I created a connection within a solution and it would appear here as a connection reference. So I'll just simply go to this ellipses and where is it? Show dependencies. Let me see. Okay. Okay, add required component. Sorry, my bad. Add required component. Okay, so let me just refresh. Dev. Okay, let me try for this. Okay, it's not showing up yet. Okay, so I'm then going to create a connection reference. So I'm just going to click on new, then scroll down to connection reference here. So on this pane is where you can get to create your connection reference. So you can create connection reference, let me see, for several connections now. I believe it's available now for several connections. So I can say SQL bike stores. So that's the connection. Okay, that is from on premise. Okay, so I'm going to then select the connection that I want to use. So I'm using a SQL Server connection. Okay, and I can select any of this. So if I should click on new, it's still going to give me any of this, but I've already established them. So if you also want to, you can click on new. It brings you to the page where you get to add those connectors in, and once you add them in, like just this normal way. So once you add them, like I showed us earlier, once you add them in, it's then going to be listed here. So I'm just going to select this and click on create. Okay, and here it is. Okay, so these happened. Now the same thing would also apply to a flow. Okay, it would also apply to a flow. So this time around, I'll be using a flow that I already built, so I wouldn't be using a flow that I would newly build. Okay, or let me see, let me just create a simple flow, just a simple flow. So new, the same way we add them all in. So you go to where is it, cloud flows. So we'll just create a flow just to do two things. When a record is submitted in a SharePoint list, then update the SharePoint list, something like that. So I'm going to use the SharePoint connection here, and over here I'll use when an item is created. So let me open up the SharePoint. Okay, so over here, so it's showing connection references already. I never knew I've already created them, but it should be in other solutions. So possibly that's why it already brought them in. Okay, so let's see. So I'm just going to select the connection, that's the site. So I'm going to use the live site instead. Let me see the ones that are here. Okay, there's no live sites. Okay, good. So I'm going to use the live site, and in the live site as well, I'll use the HR leave request form. Then once this is filled, we want this to be, want to send an email, possibly. Let's just use that. Send an email, and where is it? Send email. So we want it to send email to, so it's creating a new connection. It means I've not used this before. So if we come in here, as you can see, it's named connection reference, not connection. Okay, not connection, connection reference. So these let you know it's in a solution. So two, I'm going to send it to myself. Then the title, I can say leave request form from. So I can decide to put in the name. So these are dynamic content. Okay. Let me use full name without picture. Do I have a full name? Full email, full mail. Let's see. Let me just type in here. Name. Display, yeah, display name. So then you can just put in here is my leave request form. Kindly review. Okay, so just the simple email I'm going to then save. So let's go back to the solutions now. I'm done creating the flow. So the flow should show up. Okay, and as you can see, there is already a connection reference here. Okay, which is the Outlook connection. But I don't know why the SharePoint is not showing yet. But let me see, add required components if it would then show up. Okay, good. So it came up for SharePoint. Okay, so the same way you would create your your connection reference is the same way you would create it. So for SharePoint or for any other connector, the way I created that of the SQL Server is still the same way this has been created. So we've created two things now. We created an app to use a connection reference, and we created a flow to use a connection reference. Oh, very good. So our SQL bike stores is already here. So this is all in. So I'm going to then do an export. I mean, yeah, an export. So before I export, let me just do okay, let me do publish. I hope it doesn't take too long. Okay, so let's just test out this flow to be sure it works. Power plat. Which site did I select again? Live. Okay. Okay, where are thou? Okay, here it is. Live site. Okay, these are HR leave request form. Okay, so let's do new. Okay, full name. Let me be the one requesting. My ID. Okay, defaults in progress. Leave type. Okay, I want to use compassionate leave. I have no attachment, so I'm going to just save. Okay, so in no time, this flow should run. I'm sure it's saved. Well, let me just do a resave just to confirm again. And I'm going to go just back. So ensure it completes saving before you go back so your changes can be affected, or else it wouldn't. Okay. Okay, this might take about 30 seconds. They're about to trigger. Okay, let's check. Okay, still publishing. Okay, so it's already running, and you can even go into the flow to see where your flows executions have gotten to. But if you look at the top here, okay, what you would see is connection references, not connection. Okay, and we would see why. So the main aim of connection reference is to avoid you to constantly create connections after you have imported your flows or your apps. Okay, so that is why, especially when you're having to do this within a solution. So the flow runs successfully. Let's go back to the solution. So the solution is saved, and we will now export the solution. So now exporting the solution within the Power Platform, or let me say within Dynamics as well, you can decide to export as either managed or unmanaged. So if you're exporting as managed, it simply means that you don't want anyone to be able to make updates to it at a later time. Okay, but if you are doing exporting as unmanaged, it means where you will be exporting it to or importing it to, you are given opportunity for development and customizations. So I'm just going to use unmanaged, and I'm going to export. So this would save as a zip file to your desktop. So it's going to be saved as a zip file to your desktop. So let's assume that we have a production environment, okay, a live environment where we need to go and test this thing out. Okay, it's all good, and we are ready to get on with it. So I'm just going to go to, okay, it's still exporting. Okay, we added quite some stuffs in it. Okay, so if you have any question regarding connection references, you can put them in the chat. Okay, you can put them in the chat because we're almost done with connection reference, and we'll just look into environment variables in a nutshell. Okay, if you have any question, you can put it in the chat. Okay, so while this is still exporting, let me see. I don't want us to go back and go in. Okay, so this is connection references, creating them from within the solution, and we use them in the apps and in the flows. So that is what connection reference are. And for you to utilize them, it means that you would need to export the entire solution. You can export them differently if you want. Okay, like just creating a solution specifically for connection reference. Okay, so our solution is ready for importation. So I'm going to go to another environment. Okay, so yeah, I'm just going to switch to, okay, let's see, let me use this one, approval test environment. Okay, so this will just serve as our live environment where we are bringing in the solution to. So very few solutions. So this is where we have agreed that everyone should use the apps and flows that we've built. So we're going to import and select browse files, and then select this option and set this in. Okay, then I'm going to click next. Now watch closely what happens here, and I'm also going to go next. Now you can see that at this point, okay, we are to establish connections for all this. So once you reestablish these connections in your apps and in your flows, you wouldn't need to do it again. You wouldn't need to do it again. So that is what Microsoft has made available, so that you wouldn't need to always recreate connections within those flows and apps. So I believe I already have this here, so that's why it brought it in. Outlook, I've not used Outlook here yet. Okay, I think I had someone's mic unmuted. If you want to ask questions, please feel free to do so. So I'm creating the connection reference for this particular solution. Okay, all good, very good. So they are all in. So I'm going to go back and just do a refresh. Good. So now they are all in. So I'm just going to do import. Okay, so then one last thing. Now, before we then go ahead to look at the connection reference, where we've created them and how it's working, if it's going to work fine. So for now, okay, at the moment, the use of connection reference, that is when you are, I don't know, for some of us, you might have done DevOps to the point that you can use an Azure pipeline to export your um, solution from the Power Platform. I've actually seen this happen. So at the moment, using Azure pipeline to export your solutions, okay, strips them off the connection reference. So it is expected that if you are exporting your solution with Azure pipeline, at the moment, you will be unable to have or to maintain the connection reference. So you would have to go in and recreate it. So if you are using either managed or unmanaged, you would have to go and recreate those connections in the solution. Okay, so that's the only limitation now. But I know Microsoft is working on it. I think about 6 months now, discussions have been going on regarding that. But I know it's an issue that customers are kind of wanting to get fixed. Okay, so now we've imported a new solution, and I'm just going to open up this. Okay, so you see everything we created are here just as they are. Okay, they are here just as they are, and it means that if I go into my app, I wouldn't be asked to kind of start creating connections. So I'm going to open the flow. Let me open the app in play mode, and I think this might just ask me for authentication. Then alongside, let me open the flow also in edit mode. Okay, needs connection. Oh, why is this? Okay, let me just close this a second. Okay, let's look at flow before we go back and take a look at the power apps. Okay, so as you can see, the flow maintained everything, and it is also using the connection reference that we have set in the previous solution. Okay, so it's in the connection reference that we have set in the previous solution. So this is the way it is expected to work. Okay, this way is expected to work. So you don't need to come in here and start getting some triangular error for you to start reconnecting all over again. Okay. Ahmed, please let me know how many minutes I have left. I think I'm already overshooting the time. Okay. Okay, I can see an hand up. Adebayo. Okay.
Yes. Sorry, can you hear me?
Yes, loud and clear.
So I have a question concerning the CI/CD part. So for those that are automating their deployments with CI/CD, yeah, and then and you said the connection references are stripped off from the solution, would it still work if they automate the solution via CI/CD and then manually go and then package the connection references to that same environment? So they've automated the solution via CI/CD, then they now package the connection references and take it to the same environment. Sorry, would it still work that way?
Okay, I haven't got to use CI/CD before, but I believe that it could help to automate exporting of solutions, if I'm correct.
Yes, yes.
Okay, so as of now, even if because I've seen, even if it's not even Azure pipeline, some external or third-party solutions that helps you to export from within the Power Platform or Dynamics. So as of now, you see that point whereby we are re-importing. Now, can CI/CD also help re-import into another environment?
Yes. So I think you can automate that deployment, the
That
whole solution
deployment.
packaging. Yes. So I'm just
Okay.
wondering. So you said if it's going to strip the connection references off, yeah. So if
Mm-hmm.
I now export a solution using Azure Pipeline, and then I package the connection references in a solution manually, and then export to
Mm-hmm.
the same environment that had done the automated deployment, would it work that way? Do you think it will work that way?
Okay, so that could be a workaround, but if you are going to be automating the importation process, importing the the importation process with CI/CD will not. I'm not sure, okay, but I'm definitely sure for others because I've not used CI/CD before. So the thing is, if you noticed at the point of importing manually, it gave me the option to select the connections, okay, except CI/CD will recognize that, okay, and allow that to be done automatically. That is only when it can work, when you are automating it. But if you are going to be doing it manually, like you're just manually bringing it in and you are joining everything at the end, but if you are automating from beginning till the end, um, at the moment the Power Platform will not be able to recognize that, okay, I need to look for this connection and attach it to my flow or my app. So except CI/CD, I doubt if it's going to work. I doubt it. Because if it doesn't work for Azure Pipeline and some other third party, I'm not sure if CI/CD can also do that. I would like to give it a try, okay, just to see how the CI/CD works in helping to package and automate the solution by exporting and re-importing. I really like to see it work, but I'm not sure as of now it's possible. But we can give it a try, and we can just have a blog post on it to share the knowledge to everyone. I'm sure everyone will be eager to see that work.
Thank you. Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Okay. Any other question? Okay, let's see. Okay. So let's see. Okay, so my SQL server did something and I don't know why. Let me go back and open the one with Ahmed. Please let me know how many minutes left. I don't want to overshoot the time. So I'll just go straight into connection reference. Environment variables. Let's see. Where is the app again? Okay. Let me check with this. Okay, your app
Yep.
needs this connection. Please edit. Okay. This is happening all over. Let me just check. Okay, Rahid, I think your mic is on mute. Do you want to ask any question? Let me go back in. Cancel. play again. Okay, your app needs this connection. Please edit your app date to add it back. Okay, let's see what could be causing this. Okay, while that is opening, just a second thought. Let's go to data, connections. Okay, let's see. Okay. Okay, created. I am the owner. Okay, I don't think I still need to share it. Okay. Okay, so let's see from studio mode what happens. It's not bringing it up. Sales.customer. Okay, just a moment. Okay, it shows not connected. Failed to retrieve app data source config. Okay. Okay, let's see how soon we can try to fix this. Okay, customers. Okay, I'm not going to add any back. So this is using implicit sharing. Okay, let me see. Okay, I'm the owner, so why should it still give me that error? Okay, and I don't have any other user online to just test with. Let's see. They all can only use but can't be co-owners. Okay. Okay. Just let me try this. Okay, let's go back. Okay, let me try this. Re-add it back. SQL. Last time I did this, it didn't behave like this. Okay. Okay, refreshed. Let me go back and save. Publish. Okay, this should actually work seamless without me doing that. But I think I would need to check that later to see why that happened. Okay, so I'm going to close. Let me just go back and play the app back again. Okay, so which of the apps did I edit? Okay, I think it should be this. Play. Okay, just a moment. It still didn't get it fixed. Okay, I think I'm going to check this later. But just hold on. I don't want to hold us back. Let me see. With the ultimate, it's all good and fine. Okay, so the behavior is quite different now. Okay, this used not to. This used not to. So I'm going to have a look at that later. Okay, let me quickly dive into environment variables. Then if we still have some time, we would come back to try to look into what we have in here. Okay, so I'm still going to go back to the previous environment, okay, here, and we'll now look into environment variables. So environment variables basically are to help us to hold values, okay, to hold values for us to be able to reuse either in our apps or in our flows. Okay, let me quickly grab the docs on that so I can share with us. Okay, shapadabada. Okay, yep, here it is. So I'm going to grab the link and share with us. So for environment variable as well, your it's also going to be used like created within solutions. Okay, so most of what I'm focusing on today is things that are actually solution aware. Okay, so applications often require different configuration settings or input parameters when deployed to different environments. So let's assume you've created. So I'm going to be using the same leave request. Okay, I think this should be very short. So I'm going to be using the same leave request. So the leave request now, you've created an app or a flow that would be automating those processes. But now, let's say that you are now moving that solution to a live environment where it's going to be used, and you wouldn't want to kind of go in and do a whole lot of stuffs again, remove stuffs and the likes. So we would also use environment variable to also achieve that. So in the place of you not wanting to always change stuffs, and you will see that the dynamic content and all in the flow will still be retained. Okay, so still in the same flow now. So we're going to create an environment variable here. So I'm going to click on new, and here is the environment variable option. So we have several options, okay, that you can create environment variables with. Several options. That is, you can create them with several data types. Is it the decimal number? Is it a JSON? Is it a text, a block of JSON, a text, a choice column? Yes or no. I realized in the past the yes and no used to be true or false, and all of a sudden it changed, and I still don't know why it changed now. So, and we also have data source. So I'll be focusing on just data source. Okay, and SharePoint is our data source. I think SharePoint should be the only data source that is, yeah. So SharePoint is the only data source for now that is supported with environment variables. So here I'm going to say SharePoint live site URL. So we're going to create this for both the SharePoint list itself and the site. So for this, I'm going to be selecting the site option. Okay, then let me see. I can also select my default site. So let me select where is the live site? Yep, the live site. Then okay, let me also have this to be the live site. So you can change this if you want. So I'm going to click save now. But before then, let me copy this. So this is for creating environment variables. So I'll show us how you can use it in Power Automate. Okay, so where is it? Yep, so here it is. So I'm going to create the second one for lists. So you can either have list or document libraries, either of them. So environment variable again. So this time around, I'm going to change this to list, not site. Okay, then also use SharePoint, and then my connection is there already. If you don't have any, you'd create one. Then parameter type, I want it to be a list, and I have the, where is it? Now, as you can see, it's giving me the options of the site, the SharePoint site that have been created already. Okay, so I'm going to select this one because the list and the site should be under the same domain. Okay, they should be under the same domain. And the list value that I want should be the HR request live. So which is what we have here. So this is the Power Platform live, and this is the list. So they have to be in the same domain. Okay, so where were we? Okay, so I'm going to use the current list site as well, then save. Okay, so with this being done now, we would go back into this our flow, okay, and reuse environment variables in it. So we'll reuse environment variable in it. So I'm going to come here again to the run. So I'm just going to go to edit the same flow, okay, then so I'm going to rename this so it can have a proper name. So automate leave request. Okay, so this time around, in order for us to use the environment variables that we've created, so we'll need to use it from this point. So the site address, we don't want it to be like static while we have it here. Okay, so we're going to use enter custom values. And on the right hand side, you'd see an option for environment variables. Okay, so we're going to scroll down to the ones that we created, which is the SharePoint live site URL. So this is what we want to use. Then for these also, the same thing applies. So we want it to be list URL. So if you have any other actions for flows, it also counts. Okay, it also counts. So I've clicked on save now. Now, if we go back here and we then trigger this flow, it will still, like if we should submit something, it would still act. That is, it's going to run. Let me turn this off. I think it's a duplicate of the other one, so we don't have multiple flow runs. Okay, so the flow is ready. So I'm just going to trigger the flow so we get to see how it works. Okay, still me again. Staff 1, 2. Then leave type annual, save. Okay, think I would have to close some tabs. Okay, so let's go back. So in about 30 to 1 minute, I'm expecting this to also kickstart. Okay, so while that is trying to run, so let me come here and export this. So I'm going to do publish all customization again. And oh, I shouldn't have done that yet. Okay, so after you have published all your customizations, okay, and you want to then export this solution to another environment. So what you need to do again is that you would need to remove where you have current site. Okay, let's see. Okay, so this ran, and it ran the same way, despite the fact that we changed the variables that are in them. We changed the variables. Despite that, it still ran. This is still running. Okay, refresh. So the main idea is when you're working with solutions, okay, and you really want to churn down how you get to make multiple modifications when it comes to values, and as regards things like SharePoint now, when it comes to environment variable, you can look towards using environment variable for some of this. Okay, so yeah, so this is done. Now if we are to export this now out, so there is a need for us to remove, so there's a need for us to edit first, then remove these where is it, this where is it, current list value. Okay, so it's important that we remove the current list value. So it says override the default value by setting this and remove this value before exporting it. Shouldn't be used in other environment. That is, let's say we are moving it to a demo environment and we don't want this to be used, so you can click on this ellipsis to remove from the solution. Okay, you can do a remove from solution. So let's see, default value. So I'm going to change this also. Okay, let's see. Okay, I already have this set. Okay, I hope that is all out now. Okay, just a moment. Cancel. Let me start from the site. Edit site. Okay, so I'm going to remove this. Okay. Okay, so I'm just going to swap this to the demo. Okay, and then save. So I have another site exactly just like that, but this time around it's the one we want to use in the live environment. So I'm going to come into lists as well, do an edit. Okay, so over here, let's see, from live. Okay, I don't want this to be from live. 1 second. Okay, just 1 sec. Let's see. Okay, still showing live. Okay, just a moment. Okay, I shouldn't have set the default. Okay, 1 second. Let me discard the list. Okay, remove from the solution then. Okay, so I'm going to go back and let me cancel all this. Okay, and add a new one. So let's do new environment variable SharePoint list. Okay, maybe I'll have to remove the list from the other one as well. Data source, SharePoint, parameter should be a list. Okay, let me see. Okay, so I'm going to use this. Nope. So I'm going to save since I want to export. Okay, so let me just needs to be, yep, I got that. So let me come here. So changing this to SharePoint site. Demo, save. Okay, so let me do a publish all customizations again. Okay, so I'm going to come to the other environment now. Okay, these ones are already here. So to just be like an update. Okay. Okay, let's see if there are other things that I need to point out, just not to leave them out. Okay. Okay, so we're going to do this when we are reconnecting back. Okay, and this is what was just shown using the dynamic content to get the values into the columns. Okay, let's see, let's go back. Okay, it's all done. So I'm going to export now. This has not changed yet. Let me see. Okay, just a moment. Okay. Okay, so let's do an export. Where are you? Okay, yep. So this time around to be a version 2, still unmanaged and export. Okay, Ahmed, let me know how many minutes I have left. So, but we're almost done though.
Yeah, you're still on. You can go ahead.
Okay, I think we are at the last lap now. Okay, so these imports will add to the components that we already have in the other solution. Okay, still exporting. Let's see. Okay. Okay. Okay, so let's see. Refresh. Oh, my bad. Okay. Okay, I don't think it downloaded. Let me do that again. Okay, so if you have questions, you can just drop them in the chat, okay? Or you can unmute your mics.
Hello, good afternoon, Mr. Funsho.
Hi, good afternoon.
This is Rashid.
Okay, hi Rashid.
Yeah, thank you. I want to commend you for this great job. Though I'm a newbie, but I'm learning something. I've been reading the what's it called now? Learning path
Okay.
because I want to do certification in a Power Platform.
Okay,
But what
great.
you're doing now is really helping me to put one and two together by what I've read on the connectors, triggers, and the rest. Well
Okay.
done. This is a good opportunity. I just want to appeal that you should assist people like us to organize more of this kind of training. So I want to ask, I saw that you are recording. Will we have the recording so that we can still go over and over it again? So that we can improve better on, on putting this together. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so the recordings are available, and this is going to be a series that will be going on for quite weeks, like some weeks to come. So it will be over several things. Like this week, it's environment variable cost connector reference. Next week, it could be custom connectors, and it will keep going on and on. on. So the recordings will be available and it will be shared with us. And I think Ahmed could also share past recordings that we've done as well, and also put on the group. So it will be available on YouTube. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so these are completely exported. So I'm going to go in here and just bring it in again. Okay, think not to mess things up. Don't let me, yeah, let's do it here. So I'm going to do import. Let's go to solutions, import. Active dependencies missing. I suspected I'm going to encounter this. Okay, this is not a troubleshooting session, so don't worry. I'm going to switch environment. Which one? Okay, let me use this. Okay, let me just come to. Okay, so let's go to solutions. Okay, so we've exported the solution now, and we want to bring it back in. So I did something here that I'm not really too cool with, but we'll definitely scale through it. Let's see. Think, yeah, I've seen into the future. So I'm going to do an import now and go to browse, bring this in, then next. Ha, it still brings it up. Okay, good. So we're going to do this. Yep, I want to close the panel. Okay, so just very quick, I'm going to use, so let me do this. Let's go back to solutions. Let me use the MS Dev environment. So we're just going to create the connection references alone and flow. Those are the things we'll just create. Okay, let's see here. I mean, environment variables. Let's see, new. I think I have it created here. I think that'll be better. Let's see. Okay. 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 So here, let me see. Okay, I think this should suffice. So this is one environment variable. Okay. The description, demo HR site. This is my connection, and there is no default, nothing. All good. So this is the site URL. So this is pointing to the demo site. Okay. So I'm going to cancel. Then this one should be the one for the list. Okay, I think this could work just perfectly fine. Okay, so this is the one for list, and I've selected the site where I want the list to be from, and there is nothing in here, so all good. So what I'm to do now is I'm going to re-import this. Let me just create the simple flow like I did earlier, cloud flows. So ensure you're creating it from within the solution, okay? From within the solution. And yeah, so I got an information while going or preparing for the training. So when you are preparing or when you need to use environment variables, these are not premium features. Okay, environment variables are not premium features. As of now, you don't need a special kind of license to use environment variables. Okay, that's just the truth. You don't need any special. So it's with your Office 365 license, you can actually achieve this. Okay, so I'm going to create the SharePoint now. When an item is created, then I'm going to use, 1 second, please. Let me turn off this flow so I don't have multiple triggers. Turn off. So if I don't turn it off, we'll just keep getting a loop. Okay. So where is it? Power plat demo. Then the list is this. Where are you? Form. Then just normal send an email. or let's do this. So just to test it out, update item, that's SharePoint. Okay, I think this works. So demo, then the same thing, HR, then the ID should be the ID. That's from the trigger card. Okay, and as you can see, these are the all column that are here. So let's say whenever somebody is already sending it, I want to put in some values. Okay, let's just say I want to just tell the person it has been approved. Okay, so I'm just setting it to approved. Then I think that's all. So I'm just going to save just these 2 steps, nothing more. So our site, so let me go to my site. That should be the demo site, demo. Then HR leave request form. Okay, so I'm going to put in some new details in here. Staff ID, ST12345. The leave type annual, full name. Let me use someone else. Then status in progress. Let me remove it. Okay. Let me okay. Let me come back to the flow. Just 1 second. Come back. Where's the flow? Okay. So any new request that comes in, we want it to be leave request. Anything that comes in, we want it to be in progress. The status should be in progress. So we are using the updates to do this. So K777. Okay, good. Saved. So let's go back and where were we? We're on the SharePoint site. Okay, so I'm just going to do so here is blank, so I'm just going to do a save. Okay. So on coming back here, this flow, I'm expecting it to run. Okay, I'm expecting it to run. So while this is about happening, so let me just go back and I think I'll refresh. So I should be able to see the flow that we just created here. That's the leave request flow. So let me just refresh this. Okay, AA solutions. Yeah, so these are leave request flow that we came in with, and these are the sites and lists that we're using. So I'll just export it real quick. And managed export. Okay, so this has run and it has succeeded, meaning that if we come to the list site, it should have changed this to in progress, even though it was blank the other time. So that's what the flow is just doing, just something simple. So we're going to export it and re-import it, and we'll get to see how environment variable comes in play. Okay, how it comes in play. Okay, hurry up. Okay, so Ahmed has posted some Dynamics 365 series. Yeah, so he has pasted the link in the chat. So you might want to take a look at that just to see the previous sessions being held. Good. So I'm going to then bring it into another environment. So I can still use the same environment. So import, browse, select, open. Then we go next. Dependencies. Not again. Let me switch to this. Okay, import, browse the solution. Install solution before installing. What could be causing this? Okay, just a moment. Let me do a bit of digging in. Okay, so what are these dependencies? Okay, just a moment. Let me see what these missing dependencies are. Okay, missing dependencies, leave request, which is the flow, error code this. What dependencies are missing? So just a moment. Okay. Boom, 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 boom. Okay, leave requests. Think this is pointing to the flow. This is the ID of the flow. Then why do we have products? Okay, just a moment. Display name. Okay, the connection reference. Okay. Think that should have solved it now. Okay, let's see. Still publishing. Okay, so okay, good. So while this is still going to take like an extra 1 or 2 minutes to export again. So in case you have any question, okay, regarding Power Automate and solutions, or Power Apps, you can ask. So we could share minds on it before we conclude, because once I bring this back in, I think that should be the end of today's training. So bringing in back the solution and us seeing how it works with environment variables will be the conclusion for today. Okay, just let me see. I hope everything is all covered. Okay, yep. So for the limitations, SharePoint is the only connections as we've seen, and you can read through this. Okay, you could just look through it and let me know if there's anything you need clarifications on. So I'm gonna go back here and do another import. Okay, so no more dependency error. So go next, and here I already have the connections. Yep. So this was the dependency that was missing. So go next. Good. So at the point of importation, okay, it would point that you select a site. Okay, it will point that you select a site. So you can either use a live site. Okay, so let's assume that okay, now we've done the demo and we are good with the demo. It worked as expected in the demo. So now we want to use it in the live site. So here is where you get to specify if you want to use it in still the same live site or in the demo site. So we already have this set up. So I'm going to click on import now, and this should in few minutes also import the solution with all its components in here. Okay, so we're going to leave this flow, we'll leave it on just to test what we've done. Okay, we're going to leave it on. Okay, so let's see. Okay. Okay, so let's go back here. Oh, it's still important. Okay. Okay, let's see. Okay, Ahmed, are you still on the call?
Yeah, very well.
Okay, okay. And I believe you can still see my screen, right?
Yeah, yep.
Okay. Okay, so these are then imported successfully. So I'm going to go into the flow now, into um, the solution and check what we've done. So this is already set. So now if I want to make some modifications to this flow, so just watch what I'm going to do, and it's environment variable that would control the triggering and the updating of the flow, no longer static values. Okay, it would no longer be static values. So I'm going to remove this and swap this to enter custom. The same thing with this, enter custom. The same thing with this, enter custom, and likewise here, enter custom. So now everything is kind of blank. So I'm going to come in here and select SP1, and here I'm going to use so just to confirm if this is working as expected. Now you'd see that from the SP1 is bringing out the live form. So this is to show that it is working as expected, but we don't want dynamic, we don't want static values in here. Okay, and it also works the other way around. If the flow here was already built with dynamic values, okay, that is, if from here we set the flows to use these dynamic values SP1, and here we set it to use SP2. Where is it? We set this to be, oh no, custom, and we set this to be SP2, and we also come here and change this to be the same SP1 and SP2. Now you see that it still brought out the same options, okay, the same options. But now look closely. Let me select the identifier. The identifier should be this one. So now if you look closely, it is having all these in. Now if you exported your flow like this without making any modification, okay, and we imported it here just the way we are doing, okay, and setting this to be modified. Let's assume you don't want to customize your flow again, or you made it a managed solution. That is, you don't want to edit. So having this option, okay, would give you the opportunity not to be able to customize this flow. Okay, you will not be able to customize the flow. Okay, where is my dynamic content? Okay, I've not selected the list yet. So custom value SP2 here. So we want this to be in progress. So what we could have done, okay, is that we export, okay, let me close this. So if you exported this in this manner, the way we structured the new site and the new list is all we will just need to do. It will still run with the same dynamic content, okay? So I'm not going to save this flow. I'm just going to go back. So I just wanted to show us this. So if we go back into the flow, you would see that it's still the old SharePoint manner, okay? That's the demo. So here now, we are reforming the flow to take the live site, and we want everything that will be in it to be in progress. So I'm going to do save now and go back to, so now this is demo, and I'm going to switch to the other one, which is, where is it? Live, HR form. And so here now I'm going to create a new one. Full name, let me see, demo manager, staff ID ST999. Then this one, I don't want this field, then I'm going to save. So oh, I didn't select leaf type. Okay, no problem. So I want this to be updated to in progress as well. So I'm going to go to the flow just to ensure that this works as expected. So this should run in no minutes. Now, in setting this, these other flow will not run. Okay, it is not going to trigger for any reason. If it triggers, then there is a bug. Okay, if it triggers, then there is a bug. Okay. Okay, let's check here. Okay, our flow is yet to trigger. Okay, hurry up, hurry up. Okay, let's come in here and just do a quick something. Let's check the values. Okay, values blank, nothing. No, how come? And for the site, is this also blank? Oh, blank as well. Okay, then this will not run. Okay, I thought we did it at the beginning. So why is it blank? Okay, let's see. Yeah, it's here already. So, okay, no. Hold on. Save properly, record with the magic in value. Yeah, so why is my flow not running then? Discard. Okay, so let's see. Let me trigger from the old site and let me see if that would run. Then it means that the change didn't take effect. Where is it? Leave requests. Leave type, returnity, remove, and let me see. Okay, blank. Because this could mean that it came with the previous value. Because I remember us changing those values at the beginning. Okay, so if a flow should run, it is this that should trigger. Yeah, demo. This should not trigger at all. Okay, let me see. Edit. Just to compare the two flows. Okay, so we're using SP1 address, SP1 list name, and it brought this out for us as expected. Over here as well, it brought this out as expected. Full name claims. Can we just let's see. update list value type. Okay. So why is this not triggering yet? Just a moment. Okay. I hope there isn't any bug anywhere. Okay, so this ran and our dear flow refused to trigger. Still. And this updated to in progress. So this other flow still works as expected. So let's go to our solution again. Come in here. So there is a value. So why, or is it like took long for it to load? There is also a value. Okay, let's test again. Maybe it took a while for it to sync. Live request form. Okay, so I'm going to enter another one now. Okay, so fingers crossed. Where's our flow? Okay, this flow should please run. And it's on. Because the values are quite correct. So yep, so it's live. So kindly run. Aha, finally. I was scared for a second. Okay, so let's see. Okay, so it updated it to in progress. So I think it took just a few minutes for the values that we set from the solution to sync. So it didn't work quite as quick as I expected it to. Okay, so I think that should be all for now about environment variables as well. So do we have any question regarding usage of environment variables in our flows, in our apps? You can unmute your mics and ask. Any question? Okay, I Ahmed.
Hi, Funshan.
Okay, I think that should be all for now. So the flow ran with the environment variables as expected. Okay, so I think
Okay.
that is all. So I don't know if there's any question apart from the ones previously asked, so we can quickly address them.
All right, guys. Thank you very much, Funshan, for that wonderful training section, which quite interesting, and also it's enabled me to learn more from this as well. I tell you, I learned a lot from here. um, Seriously. So, guys, okay. I understand that we take too much of your time today, but I'm sure by next section, we're gonna try as much as possible to ensure that we manage within the time as well. Okay. So the topic is quite interesting, and that is why you see that we have to ensure that this training is completed, right? So. I want to thank you for your participation, and also if you have any question, that will be fine, so that we can take that, then we can close up. Right? Any question?
Okay, thank you, Ahmed.
There you go.
No question for today. Hopefully, we'll get some questions for the next session. Thank you for the session, though.